Today we're going to be making Singapore rice noodles, and we've assembled the ingredients. I want to review that first before we get started on the actual stir frying, which is going to be after we've done some cutting. First of all, the dish calls for fresh made chicken soup, and it also calls for chicken breast. And so rather than buying canned chicken soup, which most Asian chefs would never even think about, we are going to actually create our own broth, our own chicken soup, and we're going to fillet out the breasts, and we will boil the other chicken meat and set that aside for future use. Just like any other production for making chicken broth, we're going to add celery, carrots, and onion. And Chef Eileen is going to be helping us with that, and you will see her shortly. Once we have our broth, and once that is done, that'll be set aside. The next task is going to be to prepare the different items that are going to go into the stir fry. One, we're going to have very thinly sliced pork. We're going to have fresh shrimp, and we're going to have a very, very thinly sliced chicken, only from the breasts. Other than that, on this side, we're going to be adding peppers. We're going to be adding scallions, garlic, peppers of different kinds, and seasonings, of course. And we'll go, when we're ready to do the wok, we will go into the different oils, and we'll go into the boiling of the Singapore noodles, which will be separate than this. This is just to give you an idea of the ingredients. We're going to peel the shrimp, very, very thinly slice the breast of chicken that we have cut out and butchered out from the original whole chicken. I use the rest of the chicken for other dishes. Likewise, thinly slicing the fillet of pork. Julienne thinly slicing green peppers, as well as red peppers and yellow peppers, all julienne style, thinly sliced, as well as fine onions, garlic reduced and chopped. Place everything in a separate bowl, set aside. Singapore rice noodles taken from the bag, about 6 ounces, and these have been placed in boiling hot water for a period of about 2 minutes, then decanted and put into the colander. Just with cold water to run over them, let them sit aside separately and rest. Electric burners on, canola oil in a pan separately. You want the oil to be very, very hot, very, very hot, and it should be throwing smoke off, that to be that hot. When the vegetables go in, or the meat, it will be a very hard, hot sizzle. Other ingredients are going to be scallions chopped up, parsley chopped up, about a teaspoon of curry powder. In a separate mix, soy sauce, oyster sauce. In a separate dish, chopped garlic, ready to place into the dish. First up, shrimp in a very, very hot wok, basically to the point where we want to sear and partially cook the shrimp. It's going to cook completely later on inside the dish, but this is the shrimp portion. Next is going to be the chicken portion, very similar to the shrimp portion, in a very, very hot pan. Oil from the shrimp was poured out. The wok kind of cleaned quickly. New tablespoon of hot oil in, and you can season while you go along. A little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, whatever seasonings that you want to your taste for the dish. And you want to cook the chicken. There's no raw portion of chicken, but basically a white seared outside. Also separately, scramble 2 eggs separately in a bowl. Add a little sesame oil to it. The shrimp and the chicken are off. Now we'll be adding egg to cook, to go back into the dish when it's all assembled. Sesame oil has been added into the eggs, been separated, it's been cleaned. Now we're starting clean wok, more oil, always the same, bringing it to a very, very hot, smoking oil. Same thing, pork. My idea is the chicken and the shrimp. Now the pork, done to the point where it is seared on the outside, not quite cooked through on the inside. Set aside in a separate bowl. Clean the wok, add some canola oil, a little bit of sesame oil, and all of the vegetables that were julienned and cut up, mainly onions, peppers, seasoning again to your taste, salt, pepper. Spices can be added as you go along and you sear the vegetable portion. Usually about 10 minutes to bring the vegetable portion to a wilted, fully cooked consistency. Seasoning with curry powder now on top of the vegetables to your taste. Anywhere from a half a teaspoon of curry to 2 or even sometimes 3 ounces of curry, depending upon how rich the curry flavor you'd be looking for. This broth that we personally made from the chicken that we had, the whole chicken, not necessarily from that. It can be a chicken bouillon, but just enough to put a little liquid in and bring the vegetables down to wilting. Mixing in soy sauce with a little sugar in it and vegetables wilting, very much cooked. Add the shrimp, add the chicken and its juices, and the pork, as much as you feel you would like to have the amount of in the dish. It varies. There's no special amount. Sometimes you have less shrimp, more chicken, or more pork. Keep your wok really, really, really hot. Add more ingredients as you go along, depending upon how you see the pile developing. Noodles have been prepared previously by putting in boiling water for 2 minutes. They've been set aside, cut into small pieces with a scissor, and mixed into the dish, keeping it very, very hot. Mixing it in, constantly turning it in, turning it under to get the noodles to the bottom of the pan and the vegetables and shrimp and other ingredients up onto the top. More curry powder can be added. More soy sauce can be added. It can be adjusted basically to taste. Salt can be added. Usually about 15 minutes from start to finish once you have made all of your cuts and gotten all of your ingredients together to the table.